Today's lesson is on section 1.4, all about angles. So in these notes, you're going to learn a lot about the angles, the definitions, the parts of the angles. So first we're going to start with just the angle. So when we're looking at the angle, it's a union of two rays with a common endpoint. So we have here a ray, BA, and then the ray BC, right? And notice they share the same endpoint, B. Okay, so then we have here ray BA and the union of ray BC, and union just means them put together creates the angle ABC. Oh, and that does not look nice. All right, so then if you notice here, this is the notation of how you will write an angle. It'll just an angle symbol, works perfect, and it's 3 uppercase letters. Okay, so 3 uppercase letters, and the 3 uppercase letters are going to be the 3 points within the angle. So the parts of the angle, the vertex, the common point of the rays. So here we have B is the vertex. Then we have here the sides, rays forming the angle. So then we have here, you have these two sides here forming the angle. Interior. The interior is literally what you would think. It's the inside of the angle, okay? And then the exterior is on the outside. So as you see here, point E is on the outside where point I was on the interior. Then we have angle notation. So as I mentioned before, when you are naming an angle, there's actually a couple of ways to name it, and we'll go in depth when it's appropriate to name an angle a certain way. But here, when you have an angle all by itself like this, it is perfectly fine to label it by the 3 letters A, B, and C here. It is perfectly fine to label it as angle 5 when there's a 5 there. Or it's also perfect to say, okay, if we're looking at here, we have this angle Q. Ugh, I can't use pink over the red. Angle Q, that is perfectly fine as well. So this is when there's exactly one angle at the vertex. So for example, if we have something like this, that I over here drawing in green, when we have here A, B, C, D, E, and let me make that an uppercase A. You can't say angle A because you have an angle A over here. You have an angle A over here. You have an angle A down here as well. And then also even over here. So you can't say angle A when there's more than one. So you can only do this when there is exactly one angle. Alrighty, next the measurement of an angle. So when we're talking about the measurement, remember when we would talk about a line segment. Okay, let's say we have our line segment AB. You would write line segment AB. When we are talking about the length, we are going to say AB equals 5. Same thing for an angle. Angle Z has the measure of angle Z. So when you're talking about that, let's say that this angle is 50 degrees. The measure of angle Z equals 50 degrees. Okay? All right. So over here are the types of angles. We have an acute angle. Acute angle is always less than 90 degrees. A right angle is equal to 90 degrees. And our right angles will either have a notation there or somewhere it'll say it's a right angle, and you will know. Then we have an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is always greater than 90 or less, or sorry, greater than 90 or less than 180. So it's in between there. It cannot be equal to 90 degrees. Only the right angle is equal to 90 degrees. And then we have a straight angle. So a straight angle is just a line. So a straight angle here, PST, is going to be equal to 180 degrees. Okay. Notice that here, angle PST is also the same as the line. And angle PST is the same as the two opposite rays, SP, and then also the ray ST. So then moving forward, we have here congruent angles. So when we're talking about angles being congruent, we're going to go ahead and have just the angle with the congruent symbol, so the equal with a squiggle. If we're going to talk, so this is about the picture. And then here when we're talking, have the M in front of it, that's talking about the size. Okay, so if we're talking about the size, that's going to be, let's say, 30 degrees and 30 degrees. So we know that both of those are equal to each other. Then we have tick marks. Tick marks also show that they're congruent, just as when we had line segments, right? So we have A, B, and then C, D. Okay, so just like this, it's the same thing. So this is an example when there's one arch there, those two are congruent. You can also see it over here for angle S, where it's an arch with two lines in the middle of it. You might even see it over here as an arch with one single line through it. As long as the tick mark is identical, you know that they're congruent. Next, we have an angle bisector. So you have this nice big angle. So we have this here. And I want you to think about when we had the segment bisector. So in the angle bisector, you have the angle ABC, and it is being bisected by the ray BP. So this ray BP is bisecting it, which means it's cutting it in half. Okay, so since it's cutting it in half, these two segments, these two angles will be congruent. So that's, let's say this is 25 degrees and this is 25 degrees. So then those measures would be equal. So then let's go ahead and do a couple examples here. Okay, so taking a look, whenever I'm doing any of these examples, I'm always marking every single little thing up. So I look here in the directions, it just says use the diagram. So we need to find the measure of all of these angles and then answer if it's acute, right, or obtuse, one of them. So noticing, and I'm going to zoom in on the picture here, we have this angle here, APB is 47 degrees. We also know that CPD is 23 degrees, but we have this tick mark here, and we have one here. So that means this is also 23 degrees. So when we go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and do some quick math here. So 23 plus 23, we will get here 46 degrees. I keep making that big. The 46 degrees. And then I'm just going to go from here. So we have the measure of angle BPC. Measure of angle BPC. Well, we got that one. We looked at the tick mark. That's 23 degrees. BPD. Go ahead and look at those ones there. BPD. And we did that one. We did BPD already. BPD. That is going to be 46 degrees. APC, this angle here. Okay, so it's going to be 47 plus the 23. When we add that, 47 plus 23, we'll get 70 degrees. APD is the entire angle. And I hope you guys are enjoying my drawing skills right now. APD, so that's going to be 93 degrees when we add that up. So here, this one, we went ahead and did 47 plus 23. Over here, we were doing 47 plus 23 plus 23 to get that 93 degrees. Then we have here, is APD acute, right, or obtuse? Looking here, this angle is greater than 90 degrees, so it will be obtuse. Okay, and again, at any point, pause the video or restart it or anything you need to. The next and last example we have here is given, so this is something you would see in a proof when we go into proofs. So given the ray VB, it bisects this angle. So I'm going to draw the angle AVC. So we draw the angle AVC. And I want you to notice that V is in the middle. V is going to be the endpoint. The two outside letters, A and C, will be over here on the ends. The middle one will always go at the end point. So the V is the end point. I'm sorry, not end point, vertex. Alrighty, so over here it says to find X. And we have to find a couple other angles. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw our ray. So the ray here, VB, is bisecting, which means that those two will be congruent. We know that AVB is 3x plus 9, and we know that the other angle CVB is 5x minus 27. Since they are bisected, when we know something is bisected, we know they're cut in half. So we have 3x plus 9 equals 5x minus 27. When we go ahead and solve that, we will go ahead and get 36 equals 2x, x equals 18. So we'll get 18 here. Then we go ahead and plug that in. When we go ahead and plug this in here, 3 times 18 plus 9, we will get here 63. Go ahead and do that over here. 5 times 18 minus 27. Again, we will get 63. Notice that they are both equal to each other, right? So AVB is 63 degrees. CVB is 63 degrees. And then the entire angle, the whole angle, is going to be these two added will equal this guy here, so then we'll get a 126 degrees. And then lastly, is this angle acute, right, or obtuse? And it absolutely is obtuse because it is greater than 90 degrees. Alrighty, that is it. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me.